Hi everyone, Steve from the Audiophiles. Welcome to another awesome episode. Today, I had lots of fun because I get to compare my favorite Rolling Stones album, Some Girls. Now I'm holding up the Abbey Rd Studios Miles Showell half-speed mastered edition. I'm going to compare this pressing to Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs half-speed mastered from the original tapes by Stan Ricker. And if you haven't already, stop, click on that subscription button. When I hit 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away more prizes, more albums, and I also want to be giving away other exciting stuff from unityaudio.ca, my friends at unityaudio.ca who've given away a few things for my viewers. Are going to be giving away more stuff when we hit 2,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for exciting stuff as we get through 2022. So we'll see you on the other side of the audio files. This one was fun to compare the Abbey Rd Studios versus the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs. Oh my gosh. Like I said before, this is my favorite Rolling Stones album, so this for me was a no-brainer to listen and compare. I'll start with the Abbey Rd Studios album first. Get that here. Now, this was released in June of 2020. Now, I want everyone to be clear that Abbey Rd Studios, all of their albums are cut to vinyl from a digital file. And another thing too, if you're Rolling Stones fans, on a go forward, any Rolling Stones album that is released from the past are all going to be cut from a digital file. They will not be using the master tapes any longer, as far as what I have researched anyway. So if you wanted a true analog experience, well, the Abbey Rd Studios half-speed cut by Miles Showell is not that. It is cut from a digital file. And that goes to my second part of this. Now, if you wanted a true, and I mean, there's going to be less and less as we move forward, the true audio file analog experience, here is Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs, Some Girls, half-speed cut from the original master tapes. It was released in March of 1983, mastered by Stan Ricker. And if you go to one of my videos from last summer, this album is actually one of my top albums, best sounding album, audiophile albums of pressed in either the 1970s or the 1980s. So check that video out as well. So yeah, let's get to the comparison here. So I'm going to start with the Abbey Rd half-speed mastered by Miles Showell. Like I mentioned at the top, released in 2020, June of 2020. Now, if you haven't seen it before, we'll have a look here. Comes with an inner sleeve where they put the album or the record. Comes with liner notes, and it's pretty much just this. Lyric sheets, both sides. And then really kind of interesting, really thick vinyl. It's a really thick, nice piece of vinyl. Really thick. And on the dead wax, if you're to look, it'll say half-speed Miles at Abbey Rd Studios. And if you're not familiar with Miles Showell's work, he's done all of the recent Beatles anniversary editions or all the remixes that Giles Martin has been part of, just so you have an idea of some of his work. Now, as you know with my shootouts, I like to listen to each album about 5 times. So let's start with the Abbey Rd Studios album. This is what I heard. Now, these are my listening notes. So here's what I heard. Quiet vinyl, very clear, decent, okay separation on the instruments, and I'll get into that in a second. Overall, it does have pretty good dynamics. The vocals sounded more up front, and on this pressing, the bass seemed a little bit muddier than my Mobile Fidelity pressing, which of course I'll get into in a second. The drums didn't seem as distinctive as my Mobile Fidelity pressing. the drums and areas, and I'll get into this as well. Beast of Burden is my favorite song on this album. So I listened to Beast of Burden a ton of times on both pressings. So the drums overall sound pretty amazing and spectacular in both pressings, but on the Abbey Rd Studios, just a little bit drowned out in areas. Really on the Abbey Rd Studios version of Beast of Burden, the drums weren't as distinct as they were on the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs one, so I found that interesting as well. There was definitely more focus on the vocals and lead guitar and rhythm guitar on this mastering. And it definitely had more of a seedy smoothness to it, if that makes sense. And overall, it just was a little bit less punchy than the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs album. But I mean, again, for the price, if you look on Discogs right now, you can pick them up for $20+. So, I mean, this could be a good album to have if you're waiting on getting a Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs album, because I mean, as I'll get into that as well, they're pretty pricey. So that, in my opinion, it's a great album, great pressing to have for the, great bang for your buck. Another thing too, decent low end, and decent top end. It didn't have a lot of treble on this pressing, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just the way it was mastered, or maybe it's a digital file, but I just didn't feel it had too much on the way of treble on the top end. But overall, again, for the price, you can't go wrong with it. But if you're a true analog, obviously you're probably going to say, well, it's cut from a digital source, I don't want this. Well, that's why I want to talk about the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs next. And here we have the 1983 release of Mobile Fidelity's Some Girls, half-speed cut by Stan Ricker. Now, in my videos from last summer, this one made my list of one of the top audiophile pressings of this late 70s and early 80s, so check that video out. Now, what did I hear on this one? Well, man, raw. It just sounded more raw, didn't have that smoothness that the Abbey Rd Studios pressing had. The bass was more dynamic on this one. More precise, the drumming was more precise. Charlie Watts' drumming, especially in Beast of Burden, wow, really, really distinctive. You really could hear it much more clearer than you can on the Abbey Rd Studios pressing. I felt the vocals throughout this album, and especially in Beast of Burden, because I really focused on that song being my favorite song on the album, was very, very punchy, very distinct. Really loved the overall sound stage of this album. Quiet vinyl, of course, being the JVC Super Vinyl of the late 70s, early 80s. Like I said, the drums, wow. And the vocals, they didn't take away from anything else. The mids sounded very nice, very balanced. A little bit more treble on this pressing than on the Abbey Rd Studios pressing, like I mentioned. Overall, just had more of this raw analog experience. Really enjoyed it. You got to turn these albums up loud. I mean, both I turned up and cranked them loud, because you really got to appreciate, the mastering of these albums. And this one, it blows me away every time I listen to it. So, I mean, if you're a true analog, obviously you're going to take the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs, but they're really expensive, right? They're going for upwards of $200 and up. Maybe check out the, if you're into Facebook, this is where I got mine, is the MoFine Audiophile Vinyl Buy and Sell Club on Facebook. Take a look there. There might be some up for sale there, or even ask the group members if they have any for sale. Or if you're crate digging, maybe you'll find it. But in the meantime, I think if you want a really good pressing, maybe a Monarch pressing by Ted Jensen, or a UK pressing, original UK pressing wouldn't be a bad thing either. So, value-wise, of course, the Abbey Rd Studios isn't bad, but it is not a true analog. It is cut from a digital source. If you're a true analog, this is the one to own. Or like I said, a UK pressing, or the first pressing, monologue pressing that was done, or Monarch's pressing that was done by Sterling Sound. So there you have it. I enjoyed doing this one. If you're going to buy Some Girls, pick up the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs. it is a lot of money, but there's definitely differences, and you're paying for those differences, but all in a positive way. So until next time, keep spinning that vinyl and turning it up really loud. See you again.